NFL Talk with Elite Wages.
Yo, we are back. It's been a few weeks, and for me that's been way too long, but it's good to be back from the Christmas break. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas, and I wish everyone a happy new year. That's it. NFL regular season has now come to an end. 18 weeks of football has been completed, and we now say goodbye to 18 teams. They'll head off to Cancun on their holidays, or wherever else they're going. They'll start their preparations for next season early, and we now know the 14 teams that have made it into the postseason. Obviously, they are going to be the Chiefs and the Lions as the number 1 seeds, and then you've obviously got the Buffalo Bills. You've got the Denver Broncos, Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, Houston Texans, LA Chargers. And then for the NFC, you've got the Green Bay Packers, Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Minnesota Vikings, and the LA Rams. So they're the 14 teams that have made it to the playoffs this year. A few of them squeaked in. Tampa Bay last week, they left it very, very late to get themselves in. But yeah, we're in for an exciting playoffs. 2 rookie quarterbacks in Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels lead their teams, along with a lot of top performers in their respective positions as well. You've got 3 of the top 5 rushers, Barkley, Henry and Gibbs. 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks for passing yards in Goff, Mayfield and Sam Darnold. 2 of the top 5 who have accumulated the most receiving yards in Justin Jefferson and St. Brown as well. So a lot of talent still in the playoffs, but as you can see, a lot of big names missing from those lists. Including Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Geno Smith. A few of those are the stars that didn't make it. I'm going to take this episode and this time to go back over my season, and I think it's an ideal time for me to recap the NFL regular season as I had it. I'll go through my results week by week, and of course in total across the 18 weeks, as well as looking over some future bets that I placed that have won and lost before we move into the postseason. So let's go into my NFL season recap.
Weekly NFL recap.
It sounds so strange saying NFL season recap rather than NFL, the previous week recap. I've been doing that for 18 weeks now. So, yeah, the NFL season recap. I'm going to start it back in week 1. I had 5 plays in week 1. That was actually a winning week, 3-2 plus 0.4. One thing I've noticed as well, actually, as I'm looking over this the full season recap, are the majority of the plays that I have taken. A lot of them have been totals and team totals. But one thing I've noticed as well, the most bet on team for me is the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is a shock. I actually bet them 3 weeks in a row to start the season. Week 2, 4-3 for plus 0.5 units. So we started off steady, 2 winning weeks, and then we did have a little downfall where we had 3 weeks in the losing. I actually combined for under 10 wins in those three weeks. But again, more Steelers. Baltimore Ravens as well was a high bet team. But I lost around 6.5 units in those 3 weeks. So up to week 5 we were in the loss, and then we had a big win streak. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks in a row winning. And I think, going back over to one of my tweets as well, I think I said it was around 14 units in profit. So yeah, we had a 7-3 week in week 6, a 6-4 week for those 2 weeks combined. It went up to over 4 units, so we got those losses back. Another 6-3 and an 8-2 week as well, so we had a plus 5 unit week in week 9. Scraping through again in week 10 and 11 for just over 1 unit in both. Week 12, another 1.35 unit win. Week 13, again another 3 units, so yeah, up 14 units in that little win streak. Another losing week, which was probably my worst week of the season in week 14, where I only won 2 bets of my 8, minus 6 units in total, which obviously bumped that little win streak that we had down a little bit. And then another little winning streak to end the season, 15, 16 in week 17. Probably my best stretch of the season. So we had a 5-4 week in week 15 for plus 1.4 units. But then we had a 7-5 week in week 16. I had plus 7.49 units, where I hit a Kelsey and Mark Andrews touchdown. I believe that was over Thanksgiving weekend as well. So yeah, big week there, 7.4 units. And then the week after again, 5-2 for 5.2 units. And we had a big 3-unit bet on the Detroit Lions in that one, which was the majority of the win. And then back to week 18, where last week was a small little loss, 0.02 unit loss, where I had another 3-unit play on the Lions again, which was the majority of the win in that week as well. So, looking over, there wasn't many heavy unit plays. Let me just go back over these quickly, where my first big unit play was a 2-unit bet on the Texans and Eagles moneyline parlay, which won. The one after that would have been, I had the Colts and the Buccaneers as a teaser play for 2 units, which won as well. Going a little bit further down, we had a 1.5-unit play on a teaser in the LA Chargers game, which won. Another 1.5 play on Joe Burrow for passing touchdowns, which won. A 2-unit bet on TJ Watt for a sack, which didn't win. Another 2-unit play on Baltimore and Pittsburgh, both scored 15 points, which I remember that cash in as well. That was a 2-unit play as well. And then I had the 2 3-unit bets from the Detroit Lions. So anything over 2 units, I actually hit, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 and 1 in 2-unit plays. And I do have a nice 3-unit play for the playoff postseason as well for this weekend coming, which I'm going to share on my episode on Friday. But yeah, on the season this season, we had a really, really nice season, hitting at a 55% clip. In total, we went 83 to 95, 83 to 65 with 3 pushes. Obviously, like I said, 55%, and that's for plus 21.31 units. I do have to say, in between that as well, I didn't know whether to make this, to add this to my total or not, but I did post this as an official play in the Discord and on the particular podcast episode, which was in week 13. I did tip a touchdown treble, which did hit, and it was up 20 odds of 20. So if we're going to add that to the total, that would be plus 41.31 units. And again, adding to that, I did have a touchdown parlay in week 1, which I didn't make official, but I did play that in Discord, and that one for, I think it was 131 to 1 odds. So if we're going to add those in, we're going to be up heavy on the season. But 41.31 units on the season for this season, 55%, 83 and 65 record for NFL 2014. So just going to go over to my future bets that I placed, and there was a few of these cashed quite early on, to be honest, but there were a few of them which were really, really silly bets when I go back and have a look at them now. I'll run through those. So the first one I had was a 1-unit bet on Jahmyr Gibbs over 825.5 rushing yards, which hit. So that was a plus 0.9 unit win. The next one was the long shot version of that, and that was for Jahmyr Gibbs to have the most scrimmage yards, and it actually came really close. The odds were 36. I only put 0.1 unit on this as well, so it was a small loss in this one, but he did actually come third. He finished with 1,929 scrimmage yards, and that was just 200 short of Saquon Barkley, so he came really, really close to cashing that one for us as well. The second future bet played in the future bet was Kyren Williams. The first one I went for was a 2-unit bet and that was on his rushing yards for over 950.5. That cashed for plus 1.8 units. He actually finished with 1,299, and that was actually the 7th most rushing yards in the league. And that was the long shot version of this bet as well, which was odds of 13, but I put half a unit on that, and like I said, he came 7th, so small loss on that one again. I went back in for Kyren Williams on the rushing touchdowns as well. I had the line over 8.5 on a 1 unit play, which cashed for 0.83. He finished on 14 rushing touchdowns, which is the joint 3rd most. Moving over to another running back, Derrick Henry. I had 1 unit play on his rushing touchdowns. For some reason, I only put 1 unit on this. I should have absolutely hammered this one because this was a no-brainer. It was at 1.7 odds, so it was a 0.7 unit profit. He had 16 rushing touchdowns, which is the joint first most rushing touchdowns, I believe, with Saquon Barkley. So that one should have been an absolute hammer, but slipped up on that one. This is my first bad beat of the future bets as well. Travis Kelce receiving yards over 830.5. I had 1 unit on that, which is 1 unit loss. He actually ended on 823, so he's 7 yards short. Obviously, he sat in the final week of the season as well, which would probably put him over. So that's the first bad beat of the future bets. The next sort of receiver I went with was Stephon Diggs. I had his receiving yards at 900.5. That was a 2 unit play. I was actually locked in on this one. And obviously he finished on 296, so his projection would have gone over this. He was injured in week 8, so he only played 8 weeks. Well, 7 solid weeks, and he went out in week 8. So, projection-wise, he would have gone over this 900 mark. So that's a little bit disappointing. And another player that suffered a big injury was Tua Tagovailoa. I had his passing yards at 4,000.5, another 1 unit loss. He finished with 2,876, and he missed seven total weeks through injury as well. So, projection-wise, he would have gone over his line as well. Moving down to my next quarterback, which was a very, very solid player in my opinion, was Joe Burrow, over 3,950.5. That's a 1 unit play plus 0.83 unit profit. He actually finished with 4,918, so he absolutely smashed his line by nearly 1,000. He led the league in passing yards, so he's first. He had the most out of anyone, and I've actually got a future bet on him for comeback player of the year. That is at 3.4 odds, which hasn't been announced yet. But in my opinion, I think he sails through with that one. I think he absolutely brings that home. The next one was a very, very tight one. I went for Myles Garrett total sacks, 13.5. This was a 1 unit win, so I had a 1 unit bet on it for plus 0.95. He finished with 14, so he finished with 0.5 sacks over, and he actually had the 2nd most. And the long shot version of this bet as well was Myles Garrett's of the most sacks. So like I said, he came 2nd in that one, so it was a minus 0.5 unit loss on that one. Like I said, he came 2nd. Hendrickson had a career year. He finished with 17.5, so 3.5 ahead of Myles Garrett. The next one, this was another tough one, because this was going to be a historic year for Aiden Hutchinson. I had his sacks at over 10.5, 1 unit play, which is a 1 unit loss. He had 7.5, and he only played 5 games. So, projection-wise, he was going to absolutely smash that. He had 7.5 in 5 games. Obviously, if he would have played another 10, that would have tripled. So, disappointing not to hit that one, but he broke his leg. He is hoping to be back for the Super Bowl, which I will have a very, very big, humongous long shot on Aiden Hutchinson to be the Super Bowl MVP. So if you do see odds for that, sprinkle that one as well. Justin Tucker, most kicker points. That was a half a unit loss. Absolutely shocking, disappointing season. He missed so many easy kicks. He actually finished 11th, which is, if I'm correct in saying, I think he's finished in the top 10 every year of his career. So he's finished in 11th this year. And then moving on to my first team bet, which is my Green Bay Packers. That was a 3 unit play to make the playoffs. So that was a plus 1.98 unit win. We actually finished with a 7 seed. We locked that up a few weeks ago, so the loss against the Bears last week didn't really matter as much. I do have 2 more futures on the Packers. One is to win the NFC, and the next one to win the Super Bowl. So hopefully we can continue to gain results, starting with the Eagles on Sunday. Staying in the NFC North, I had the top 2 to be the Lions and Packers, which was a 1.5 unit play, and that was a 1.5 unit loss. Lions and Vikings were the top 2. Packers placed in 3rd. The next one is the NFC East, and that was the Philadelphia Eagles to win the NFC East, and that was a 1 unit play, and that was a 1 unit win as well. That was odds of 2, so a plus 1 unit win. They won the division, absolutely smashed the division. The Commanders did give them a bit of a run for their money at one point, but Eagles came through and they won that quite comfortably. Then these next ones, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. These next 6 plays, looking back at them now, they were absolutely terrible reads. We're going to start off with the Buffalo Bills. Total wins under 10.5. That was 1 unit loss. They finished on 13 wins. I also had the Buffalo Bills not to make the playoffs at odds of 2.4. That's another 1 unit loss. They won the division and they got the 2nd seed as well, so made me look completely stupid there. I was actually a lot higher on the Dolphins, which is why I put them to win the AFC East. There was a 1.5 unit play, which is a 1.5 unit loss. They came 2nd. And I also had the Miami Dolphins to be the highest scoring team in the NFL. That was odds of 17. So that was a big long shot. So that's a half unit loss. They had the 4th least points scored this season. So again, embarrassing read by me. They absolutely completely flipped what I said. The last 2 plays were in the same division. And starting with the LA Chargers, I had them not to make the playoffs. As a 1 unit loss. They've actually played really, really well, and they got the 5th seed in the AFC. And then I had a little parlay for the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers both to win the divisions. That was a 2 unit play, and that was a 2 unit loss. Obviously, the Chiefs won their division. 49ers total flop this season. They finished bottom of their division. They had no fight, no hope. So that was another loss. So in total for my futures so far, like I said, I've got 3 more waiting to come in. In the win, I had 8 wins, and for those wins I was plus 8.99 units, and I had 15 losses, and that was minus 15.1 units as well. So hopefully these little futures can boost up that number. So I'm not going to total that yet, but it's not looking good on the futures so far. We have only got potential another 1 unit loss though, so it sort of counteracts. We're still in the profit if we're taking into consideration the NFL season plays. But I do have a future bet that I'm going to add. I have posted it in the Discord. Let me just run back to the Discord channel now. Yeah, so I posted this on yesterday, actually, at 11 o'clock yesterday. And I've got another 1 unit play on the Lions to win the Super Bowl, odds of 5. Obviously, I would play this down to 4. Potentially even 3.5. I think they look in the best team in the NFL so far. I know I've got the Packers to win the Super Bowl at a long shot. That was at 21 odds. But in all fairness, I don't think anyone can beat the Lions. They answered a lot of questions on defense against the Minnesota Vikings last week. There's been quite a lot of speculation on if they can defend the ball fairly well against these top teams and things like that. And like I said, I think they answered the questions and the critiques and stuff like that against the Vikings. And offensively, obviously, they're one of the best. I think they are actually ranked as the top. They're ranked as the 5th best running team on defense. I'm pretty sure they're top for in the 6th for rushing offense as well. And obviously points per game, they're top of the league with 33 on average. So last 5 they've scored 35 points. So they're coming into this postseason with a lot of momentum. Momentum is going to be the key word for next week, for the Friday episode as well. So keep that in mind. But the momentum for the Detroit Lions is huge. Scoring 33 points on average on the season is massive. Defensively playing fairly well as well. In the top 10, ranking 7th, only allowing 20 points per game. So that's a 13-point differential for their opponents and things. But obviously, this is the playoffs. Everyone's going to be fighting for, fighting for their places and things like that. And if I am correct, let me just have a quick look. I think they are on the side of. Let me just have a look. They are going to be on the side of the Cardinals, I believe. Let's have a. Let me try and find it now. Playoff picture. There we go. So the Detroit Lions will play the winners of the LA Rams. Is it? Oh, they played the lowest seed, don't they, from the losing side? So they could potentially play the Packers again. But obviously, looking at this side of the division as well, and this side of the conference, I don't see any team beating this Lions team at the moment. The Rams, they'll go down. The Vikings obviously already have. The Bucks don't stand a chance, in my opinion. Their defense is just too weak. Same for the Commanders. The Eagles will be a very, very good game, very close game, but I believe the Lions will win that. And obviously, being a Packers fan, I will hope that the Packers beat them, but I don't think we lost, obviously, twice in the regular season. One of those was a very close game, which we could have won, but we didn't. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very good playoffs this year. Like I said, I've locked in the Lions for the Super Bowl, and yeah, I think that's all wrapped up. I do have some very nice plays for Saturday and Sunday. Saturday games this week, Saturday games, Sunday games, and the Monday Night Football. So I've got some nice plays to lock into that on Friday. And yeah, we'll wrap it up and back on Friday. So catch you later.